Howdy folks, welcome to episode 3 of Yogi Dave's Hobby Podcast. I hope you have enjoyed episodes 1 and 2. I know they were released like a week apart, but I actually had episode 2 done a wee bit earlier, but I wanted to leave a wee bit of space to see how many people actually listened to episode 1 before I released episode 2, or whether or not I would have Apple to actually fucking sort of shit out and get me cleared before episode 2 was released. At this point I'm actually not sure, because I'm recording this not that long after I recorded episode 2, but you know, anyway, I'm Yogi Dave, obviously, or David Muir. I am your host. I talk about gaming and all the things that are related to gaming, and that is board games, RPGs and war games. Don't do any collectible card games or anything like that, and I very rarely do any computer gaming anymore. So a lot of this is me talking, turning into rants, and that will continue. At some point I'm going to have some people on, maybe friends of mine, or maybe, you know, people that I know within gaming. I'll have the odd interview episode or the odd talking with other people episode, but most of them is going to be me talking about various things in the hobby that I do enjoy or drive me fucking crazy, and there'll be lots of swearing, because that's just who the fuck I am, and I don't really care. So, first thing I'm going to talk about today is board games. So, when I talk about board games, I don't just mean, you know, your regular run-of-the-mill board games like Monopoly or Cluedo or anything like that. You know, that's the mainstream board games. I'm talking about stuff like Massive Darkness and Zombicide and Conan and Batman and all these cool ones, as well as what is more traditionally board gaming, like Catan or Axis and Allies, or, you know, stuff like that, that's more like hobby orientated. And that's not just that kind of, what I class as board gaming is not like traditional board gaming, because Cards Against Humanity is not a fucking board game really, but I put it in that like section of my hobby, even though it's strictly speaking is a card game, but I stick that in my what I class as card games are your traditional card games like poker and gin rummy and stuff like that, but card games are like Magic the Gathering, Keyforge, Pokemon. You know, those are the ones that I consider to be card games. And I know I'm probably wrong, and I know, actually, no, totally wrong, but it's how my brain works these games in. Excuse me. Back in the day, I was very much not that big into board games. I had HeroQuest, my older brother had Space Crusade, and we had Advanced HeroQuest. At some point, somebody bought Advanced HeroQuest. I can't remember who. You know, somebody bought me Classic Dungeon, bought Battle Masters, but that was really quite it for more of a game, like a hobby board gaming. Obviously we had like Cluedo and Monopoly and these kinds of things, but you know, we didn't really play them very often. And we had Buck Rogers. There's a Buck Rogers games, the game that I stole all the fighters and stuff from for doing something else. Can't remember what it was for. I think it was Star Trek, to be honest with me. And when I started doing Star Trek Combat Simulator, because the battlers look like a little bit like fucking Morbobs. or Birds of Prey. Not too much, but a little bit. Anyway, we played them when we were younger, but yeah, I mean, still own them. Though maybe not. Don't own Space Crusade that much. We own parts of it, because parts of it have been damaged. I admit, probably by me, and the figures have been repurposed for other things over the years. So don't quite have Space Crusade anymore, but still get Hero Quest, still get Advanced Hero Quest. I think even Classic Dungeons kicking about still, though the figures have disappeared off the face of the bloody earth. Probably in a fucking landfill somewhere, because I probably put them in a bin by mistake, because I'm a fucking idiot sometimes. But that part of the hobby kind of fell away after I did buy the war game, Doom of the Empire, and not Doom of the Empire, Doom of the Eldar, the one with is it Hive Kraken, Taken, and Lytic, the Craft World. I think I did have that. That was part of Games Workshop's War Game series of board games. I did own that. I forgot about that for a second. It's still in my mum and dad's house actually. I might have to get that and see if all the parts are there, so I can play a game out at some point. I'm getting off the point, but yeah. So kind of fell away from board gaming until 3 years ago, I think. Might have been 4. It's 2 years before I met Fiona. I think it was 3 years ago. I started doing Kickstarters, and I got Conan, and I got Zombicide the Black Plague, and I got Massive Darkness. Now all 3 of these are miniature board games, and they have different elements to them that make them unique. Well, not absolute. Actually, I hate when people say absolutely unique. And unique is you can only say unique, and it's unique. There's no extremely unique or really unique or anything like that. It's unique. It is singular. There is nothing like it. To be fair, there is nothing like Massive Darkness, because the set of rules that you use for Massive Darkness are the Massive Darkness rules. That's it. Nobody else uses them, as far as I'm aware. Zombicide, all of the Zombicide games kind of use the same system, and then Conan has its own system. Now they're all based around their different variant types of rules. I think Massive Darkness is very American. Massive Darkness and Zombicide, I think they're very much for the American market, whereas Conan's kind of a hybrid of different European types of board games, which I like both. Well, actually, I like all 3. I say both. I like all 3 games. I've only played a couple of games of Conan. I've played loads of games of Massive Darkness and quite a number of games of Zombicide. But the game's different every time you play it, because you flip different cards to get different. Or the way that one game of the Conan game will play, one of each scenario, plays out differently from the next completely. Even though you're using basically the same stuff, it plays out completely uniquely. It depends on who's been the game master kind of guy in the Conan game, how they play, and how they manage it's very much managing their resources, or their like monsters and what have you. It's how that game is played, and how obviously the Heroes game's played, how they manage their resources and what have you. But that was my first board games for at least 15 years. First time I had bought a board game in at least 15, maybe 20 years. Excuse me, I have bad indigestion right now. I really should take an acids or drink a great big glass of milk. But I'm recording this, so I'll get to it in a minute. So about 3 or 4 months ago, not actually, it's longer than that, it's maybe about a year ago, I got Starflux. I think I got it for Christmas last year, because I'd played it at Falkirk and I had really enjoyed it, so I wanted to get it. So somebody bought me it for Christmas or my birthday, I can't remember what, and I played it with Fiona quite a bit, and you know, we really enjoyed playing that with each other, and you know, we're kind of on even scores, and then I bought Tiny Epic Galaxies. I think that was for my birthday I got that, and I actually quite like that game. I quite enjoy that game. I haven't played it properly, I don't think, so far, but I enjoyed it anyway. She was like, well, why don't you buy like this game and that game so we can play it together? So we got Cards Against Humanity and we got Code Names. We got both of them to play. Now, Cards Against Humanity we never played until Christmas Day with her family and her brother-in-law's dad and sister, and that was kind of, you know, eye-opening about how bad Cards Against Humanity can actually fucking be, with people you don't expect it to be bad with. But also Codenames, we played that a couple of times. We played like a 2-player game version of it where you're playing against like you're playing against you're not playing against like opponents, but you're playing against a set way of how the opponent is AI'd, and then we played a couple of games with her mum and dad, and we got beat badly by them, but we haven't really played it fully because what they recommend is you play 3 players in each team, and then, you know, each player gets a shot at being the, what do they call it, the master spy, I think they call it, the master spy. And if you go on and watch Tabletop Codenames, Will Wheaton explains it, and the actual game explains it better than me trying to explain it to you. We got them, and we played them, and then for Christmas we both got vouchers off her mum and dad, and Fiona was like, well, why don't we just go buy like a whole load of board games? So we bought Elder Sign, which was specifically for me, and playing my mates, because she's not particularly enamoured with the idea of that. Pardon me, I'm really, really sorry about this. But also Pandemic and Forbidden Island. Now, all 3 of them, I suppose technically you could call them board games, but they're not really. But obviously Pandemic is a board game. Forbidden Island, technically you make the board up when you're putting it together, and it comes apart. I'm trying to hold. And the same could be said for Elder Sign. Elder Sign's the revised edition, and at some point in the near future I will have an Elder Sign unboxing. I did have one, but Zach in his infinite wisdom knocked the surface it was on, and the camera, the angle kind of went off. It's my phone I use, but it's a really good phone, and that's why I use it for everything. But yeah, I've lost like half the footage is at a stupid bloody angle where I'm missing half the stuff I'm showing you, so I'll have to redo that at some point in the near future and get that uploaded onto the YouTube channel. And yeah, so that's more of a dice game. It's the different mechanics that I quite like, having all these different mechanics, different card mechanics. Now, there's lots of games that have got card mechanics, but it's different types of card mechanics. It's like, don't get me wrong, Forbidden Island and Pandemic, have pretty much the same mechanic because it's written by the same guy, but it's done in a different way. You know, the way things go are done in a different way, and so obviously diseases are spread, whereas when you play Forbidden Island, parts of the island go underwater and then disappear, which is not the same for Pandemic, obviously. And with, you know, obviously Elder Sign is dice, trying to get each, you know, part of the museum that you're in done, you know, each part of it gone through, so you can get enough Elder Sign to stop the Elder One from, or Ancient One, from appearing and destroying the Earth. But you know, it's the variants of different ways that cards or dice or what have you can alter the game is what I enjoy about board gaming that I've started picking up. I would like to pick up some different ones. Other than this, I would really love to have Lords of Waterdeep, because even though I'll be honest with you, I've watched Lords of Waterdeep and Elder Sign, the tabletop episodes, and I know lots of people love Felicia Day, but she's fucking annoying in them. And, you know, it sometimes puts me off watching an episode when I know she's on it. But I've watched both of them, and I still bought Elder Sign, and I still want Lords of Waterdeep, so I know loads of you love Felicia Day, but she's just so annoying sometimes. It's just the way she talks and is over the top with things and shit. I'm just, oh, please shut up. Anyway, I shall digress from that one. Yeah, so I'm really enjoying the board games, and because I am not allowed to buy any new figures and I'm not allowed to buy any new terrain stuff, I think board games are going to be the things that are going to get bought for probably the next year, if not a little bit longer, as I try and cut down in the amount of projects that I have outstanding. I need to build all my fucking trees. So that actually segues into what I was wanting to talk about, other than this, is terrain. Now, as you have probably listened to me talk about Lux APS, Lux APS is where I get my ideas for doing all my... I mean, he's not the only place that I get the ideas from, but he's the main place. All I wanted to talk about was building your own terrain and how easy it can be, and doing all your own stuff, like so building your own terrain, rather than going out and buying it. Now, I know a lot of people will go off and one at me for going, oh, of people. Now I know loads of people don't have the time to actually sit and make their own terrain, but you know, I think it's important that if you can find the time to build your own terrain, is do it. You know, it's not that difficult. It might look difficult, and sometimes I make it look difficult from the way that I do it, the way that I fuck up. But you know, it's not. It really isn't. It's just another. It's difficult to make it look really good, but it's like painting. It takes time to make it look good, and it takes effort, and it takes you trying lots of different things and trying to do things different ways to get it to look good. I mean, I do a mean hill, but a hill's not really that hard to do. It's a couple of bits of foam, some modelling compound spread around it so it looks vaguely hellish, and then put some like fucking ground covering on it, and then put static grass over it, or foam grass, or whatever you're using for it, or sawdust flock, or whatever you're using to make your grass look, you know, you put that over it. It's not rocket science. You can add a few stones or a few bushes or whatever you want to add to it, but it really isn't that hard to make a hill. It takes a bit of research, it takes a wee bit of money, but not a huge amount of money, because you can buy like styrofoam for 20 quid or something like that for big sheets of 2x1. Actually, not quite 2x1, but you can make it into 2x1s. Which I use to make my boards as well. I don't just have just made my own terrain. I've made my own boards, like 2x1 boards, to do like modular gaming, like modular tables, so I can switch about. Don't look that modular because my flocking is terrible, but you know, I think it looks good. I think part of it looks good. I think part of it looks fucking terrible, but you know, that's me. That's me being self-critical about myself. But the thing is, you know, a lot of people in board gaming look at the like stuff the Games Workshop do and think, oh, I couldn't do that. Well, no, you probably couldn't do it right now, but in a couple of years, with a bit of experience and a bit of practice under your belt, then you probably could. And to be honest with you, you see the some of the terrain that Games Workshop comes out with, or has come out with over the years, it's not that good. There's ways of doing better. So I do really recommend that you look into it. I don't recommend that if you're living in your mum and dad's house, you use all their crap. Not their crap, but like their service and their various other things to make terrain. But always, if you're under the age of 18, always get the permission before you buy the stuff. If you're over the age of 18, I shouldn't laugh, because I love my mum and dad for long enough. Get their permission to use your room as a place of building your terrain, or use the kitchen table or whatever you paint to build it. But you know, it's really good. It's a really good thing to do. Don't try wire trees before you've tried tree armatures to make trees, because that's just throwing yourself at the deep end and not expecting yourself to fail. Because trust me, I made some hideous wire trees. One of them, which was binned in the latest purging of my room, my hobby room, well, Mike and Fiona's hobby room, because it's so hideous. I actually managed to salvage some of the seafoam tree branch things that I'll use as bushes or something like that, or as 15mm or 10mm trees, because they're probably big enough to be those size trees on their own, but not big enough to be like proper wargaming trees, like 28mm trees. The thing I would like to talk about with building your own terrain is always be bloody safe. Watch yourself with the knives and what have you, and the glue guns, and like any of the aerosol stuff that you might use. You know, always be careful with what you're doing with it, because you know somebody can get hurt, and not just you. You know, if you've got younger siblings that are quite a number of years younger than you, or you know you've got nephews or nieces that are little, having blades lying about is not a good thing. So having puppies about with blades is not the greatest thing on the planet, trust me. I have a 12-month-old puppy, and there's been a few times where I've been worried that a blade's pinged off and it might get stuck in his foot. So, you know, be aware. The other thing is also scale creep with terrain. Now, you're never going to get a true scale tree in 28mm, because a true scale tree, especially for like pine trees and trees like the trees that are in your back garden, are too big to put on a fucking gaming table. You'd have like 2 trees and then very little else. I've actually had a look at it myself. But that the other thing is also like buildings and stuff. If you're going to build buildings, you probably can get away with a certain amount of true scale on it, but it depends on the size of board you're using. It depends on what you're doing with it as well. So like we've been talking with Dave Watson, one of the guys in the Glasgow District Wargamers Club that I'm a member of, about doing an Operation Sea Lion. What if the Germans obviously invaded England, and we've been talking about the buildings for it. Nobody does. World War II era English, I was going to say British, but English village buildings at this moment in time. I've been looking at trying to teach myself to do 3D software, you know, try to build it myself. But all attempts at this point have evaded me and actually being able to make anything. I'm so busy with other stuff at the moment, like this and the YouTube channel, that I can actually I can't really devote that much time to it. Hopefully I'll be going back to work very soon, so I can devote even less time to it. So it's something you need to be aware of, is the size, the scale creep. You want to have it as close as you can, but without it looking stupid, or having it look out of place on your table. So I've got a whole bunch of outcrops that are quite large, but if I was putting them on an 8x4 in a craggy terrain, they wouldn't look out of place because they're not too big, but they're not too small. So they're kind of exactly right for the size, and that was a happy accident because it was using the expanding foam to make on bacon trays, bacon sheets, like the baking paper. That's it, baking paper sheet. Just like scooshed out along a big long roll of that baking paper. That's the bloody word I was looking for. Just scooshed along that, and it just pulled off. The other thing is, now, not everyone's got enough money to start out doing this, but if you can afford a static grass box or applicator, like a good decent version of it, making your bushes and your flower flower plants and what have you can put on your bases. Buy one of them instead of going out and buying the pre-made stuff, because it will be a lot cheaper in the long run. So you just put your there's lots of videos that explain how to do it, but that I would recommend that if you can afford to buy one of them, buy one outright right away. I wish I I knew about it, and wish I could have bought one right away. I think I might have to actually get somebody to buy one for me for my birthday in March. Since I'm not getting any new toys, I might as well get that kind of toy. Though Fiona might kill me. Maybe not. She might be alright with it, because it's not actually me buying a toy or a bit of terrain stuff, or making bits of terrains, because I need to finish lots and lots of different projects. But yeah, so if you're going to do it, plan it. Don't. Honestly, I am the worst kind of impulse wargamer. I buy stuff on impulse all the time. If I was a gambler, I would be fucked. Honestly, I get so much impulse control issues when it comes to gaming that it's ridiculous. I've gone and bought like 2 fleets for Dystopian Wars and banged them out, like as big a fleet as I can possibly pick up right away. When I did the US Marines, US Army for World War II, I bought shitloads of stuff without realising I didn't need that much stuff. I have a whole platoon worth of figures that's actually going to get painted for the YouTube channel to raffle off for people to help with actually the podcast and the YouTube channel and keep it afloat. What else? All my Space Wolves. When I was rebuilding my Space Wolf army for 40k, I bought shitloads. I have more Terminators than I would ever need. I swear to God, I have more friggin' 30k and 40k infantry than I would ever need for any one game. I've got like 15 bikes or something like that, not including my attack bikes. I've got 30 Skyclaws, though. I have uses for 30 Skyclaws. It's fun. But yeah, I have that problem that I start buying all this stuff, I don't actually finish it. Oh, I have like 40 trees and about 3 of them are finished, and that doesn't include that. I mean, that's the ones that have been made from amateurs. I've still got about maybe not 40, but at least 20 still to build. I'm looking at them going, whoa. But I built loads of hills. I built a big, massive river, but there's 3 sections, actually 5 sections that don't actually. I've used resin to do the surface, but I missed a bit in the middle, and I can't afford to go out and buy the resin right now, and also it's not the weather for the resin that I use because it stinks like high fucking heaven and I can't do it outside. But yeah, honestly, plan out what you're going to do before you start doing it with terrain, because you will get carried away. I am so carried away that it's ridiculous. I only started doing it in October. Yeah, October. I probably spent about 600 quid on stuff. Maybe a wee bit before that. Maybe September or August. I can't remember, to be honest. But it's less than 6 months, and I've easily spent about 600 or 700 quid worth of stuff. And it's scary. It really is. I'm probably exaggerating a bit, but it's not by a lot that I'm exaggerating. There's just so much stuff that I've started doing, and I've got like trees, and I've got hills, and I've got outcrops, and I've got what have you that are finished, but everything else I need to finish. Just like so much stuff. And I've started doing stuff for Necromunda as well, but that I can use for 40k. But you know, I need to finish that off too. I need to figure out what I want to do with it, to be honest. Because I want to make it look really good, but I'm trying to figure out a way of making it look really good. And that's the problem. Trying to make it look really good. You don't have a fucking clue what you're doing. It's funny. I find it funny. Anyway, what else was I going to talk about? I was going to talk about lots and lots and lots and lots of things. What was the one? I was thinking about RPGs again. I know I talked a lot about 2D20 RPGs the other day on the other podcast. Well, it is actually the other day now, because I recorded it yesterday morning. I'll put half bloody 2 recording this. So I was talking about the 2D20 system of RPGs, and I also talked a little about Through the Breach, and I think I was probably a little bit harsh on Weird, and I thought that the scheduling and the releasing of 2nd edition was a little bit much in the short period that they did it. But you know, I don't know what I'm talking about. I honestly don't know what I'm talking about when I talk about these things. Sometimes it's like it's just something that pops into my head and I say it. But you know, I've been RPGing for years and years and years and years. Well, on and off, anyway. But you know, I went from 2nd edition. I mean, 2nd edition D&D was around for a long time. Some people call it second AD&D. Some people go 2nd edition AD&D. I just go with it was whole 2nd edition D&D. So 2nd edition D&D was, you know, what I started with when it comes to Dungeons and Dragons. So you've got different updated versions. So 1987, you're talking 2nd edition AD&D. and it wasn't until 2000, the year 2000, they released the third edition of D&D. So you think about it, it went from 1987 to 2000, that is 13 years. That's a long time for a one single edition of a game. Not so much for an RPG, I don't think, from, thinking about it, because there's a lot you can do with an RPG, especially one like Dungeons & Dragons. But that's Dungeons & Dragons, because Dungeons & Dragons has so many different settings. You've got Faerun, you've got Greyhawk, you've got Eberron, you've got Kyron. I can never remember what the Dragonlance, how you pronounce the Dragonlance one. I never really knew. I said Kyron or Kyron at times. But these are like the main ones, really. And you've got other ones. You've got the Ravenloft one. You've got Darksun. You get Planescape. There's loads of them. There's loads of different ones. So that allowed D&D, TSR, and then I'm not sure whether or not third edition came out long after Hasbro bought the company, or bought the rights to Dungeons and Dragons. Obviously, Wizards of the Coast release Dungeons and Dragons, but Wizards of the Coast was owned by Hasbro, so and they released the D20 set of rules, and then later on did the 3.5 version, and 4th edition. There's a lot more editions in the last 17 years, 19 years, than there had been in the previous 13. Obviously, the previous 13 there was a single edition of AD&D, and then 19 years later we've had 3rd edition, 3.5, 4th and 5th, so we've had 4 different editions, and that I think has a lot to do with the increased need of the gamer for additional information. Has gone to the point where we need to redo and do 4th edition, and then obviously in the time between 4th edition and 5th edition they've soaked up all that other stuff, so they're doing 5th edition. So it does take a lot less time to go through everything now. So it takes a lot less time to go through all of the settings now. But the thing with that is they have all those settings. Weird and all these other companies don't really have that. But to be honest, I don't think with the 2D20 systems there'll be like new editions. I think there'll be reprints with errata and updated stuff. So if you've already bought like the PDF version of the rulebook, you won't have to go out and buy a new rulebook, because there's errata changes all the time, and obviously they get up. When you buy the PDF version, you get the updated version. So I don't think going by the D&D model, you really can. Excuse me, need to drink that. You really can go through, and go, well, Weird took this short amount of time to switch over because they wanted to make more money. It might be that they wanted to make more money. It might just be that they decided, right, all this stuff that's happened, what us doing all the through the breach stuff up until now has made it so that we think actually what we need to do is update this class, update that class, or path as they call it, I'm sure it's a path. I don't have my copy to hand, but all these things need to get updated. The spells as well, and everything. And you know, it hasn't changed a massive amount, but it's changed enough that they probably did need to bring out a new edition. I don't know. I get a little wary of bad mouthing people and companies, because you know, I play the games. I understand that, you know, there might be reasons for it, but you know, I say what I think, and I think what I feel, and sometimes it's going to get me into trouble, but that's fine, because that's life. That's what happens in life. You say things that will get you into trouble, and there's no point backpedaling, but there's also no point in not telling it how it is, because if you don't, you know, it's not gonna help you in life, as far as I'm concerned anyway. But I'm rambling on now. What are we going to talk about next? So there's the whole resolution for 2019 thing. Now I did it. Right? I've said I'm not going to buy any more figures until such point that, you know, I can actually say that I've put a big dent in my paint collection, apart from the Conquest stuff, because obviously that's going on something else. That's being used as a big raffle army for the Stormlord Space Marine one anyway. You know, but that's also getting me all that terrain and all the scatter stuff, which, you know, I quite like the idea of having all that stuff. But at the same time, you know, I'm being realistic. I only have so much time over the year that I can play war games. Yeah, I mean, there's last year I missed half of the Glasgow Club meetings because I had work or the life events happened, and you know, when life happens you can't game. It's just how it is. And you know, there's only so much time I can spend painting. There's only so much time I can spend, you know, not with, you know, my family and friends and all the rest of that kind of stuff that is outside the gaming. So, you know, I was being realistic when I made that particular resolution, and there was also that I'm going to try to play more games, try to get more people into gaming, but that's kind of always part of what I want to do over a year. I always want to play more games, more different games, bring more people into it, you know, get more people playing whatever games I play. That kind of things, it's kind of a given with me. You know, I go to shows every year. You know, I'll be going to the Carronade in Falkirk, Claymore in Edinburgh, even though I hate certain people up there. I hate dealing with certain people up there. Fucking drive me insane. Wanted to punch one guy once. Old bastard. Treated me as if I was a fucking Wayne. And this is when I was like 30. No, I don't appreciate. I never really appreciated getting talked down to when I was a kid and a teenager. I really don't appreciate it now that I'm a bloody adult. But that guy's a bit of an asshole anyway, as far as I'm aware. So it's fine. But you know, I'll be going there, and hopefully I'll be going to the Glasgow G3 gathering. So try to get stuff done for that particular show. I want to either take some Napoleonics and do some sharps practice, or I want to take along some board games, some miniature board games, like Conan or something like that. Or if somebody else wants to do something, I'm quite happy to, help out. But, it's important to be involved in the hobby, not just as a player, but as somebody that actively tries to help the hobby. That is my opinion. It's obviously not everyone's opinion, and that's I understand that. And I live the way I do, hobby wise, because I don't want to not have opponents to play anything I want to play. I don't want to not get to play something because there's nobody to do it with. It's just my mindset on that. And I don't understand people that don't have that mindset. But I do, because there's people I know that have anxiety issues that, aren't particularly good at interacting with other people, except when it's, playing the game. They can interact with them when they're doing that, but they have to do it through Facebook or whatever like that, otherwise. But, I also know people with extreme anxiety issues that are great at teaching people how to play new games, bringing people in and teaching them how to play it. But I don't know where I was going with that one, but the whole resolution thing, it's like making New Year's resolutions otherwise. There's a point where you're going to break it. Or the thing is, what you say is, I'm going to try my best. You never say, I'm going to do this. You always say, I'm going to try my best to not do this, or to do this, or to do that, or the next thing is never, I'm going to. So I am going to try my best to paint as many figures as I can this year. I'm going to try my best to play as many more games as I can next year, and play with as many different people as I can this year. The thing with the figures is, I've actually got to the point where I'm like, right, unless it's absolutely necessary for me to do this, that, or the next thing, I'm not going to buy it. So my Genestealer cult, I'm not buying any figures for it until such point as I actually start getting it painted, which will be some point next year. So it's January, and already it's going to be I know it's going to be some point next year, because I've got other stuff to do before then. I've got Space Marines to do, I've got Space Wolves to do, I've got Storm Wardens to do, I've got Massive Darkness to do, I've got the Napoleonics to do, I've got other projects that I'll have to get done, clients projects that need to get done. It's not going to be a quiet year painting wise for me. It's not going to be a quite an open year for me that I can just sit back and do whatever the hell I like with my painting. That I can't. There's also my terrain projects that need to be finished. So I don't have that time to go and sit and paint Genestealers, because the thing about the Genestealers is they're going to be part of a split army. So it'll be Chaos, Imperial Guard, and Chaos Cult. So they'll all be all the figures will be of the same paint scheme. So if you've seen my Goliath and my Necromunda Goliath, they are going to be part of that, and they are all, yellow and red and greeny blue, or bluey green, depending on how you look at it. So that's every figure in the army is going to be, which means I have to strip my Genestealer cult figures. So it's all going to be one big massive army, with Chaos Cultists, with Chaos Marines, with, the Gene Stealer Cult, with the Imperial Guard, with Necromunda stuff. I'm going to have, feudal Imperial Guard, among others. Stuff that I have for Warzone, like the Warzone plastics. That's going to be painted as, the Tempestus Scions of this particular army. But they could also be used as, obviously, Traitor Guard Scions, or Stormtroopers, or whatever you want to call them. Veterans, or what have you. So, it's not going to be a little project. It is a year-long project, and it's slated for next year already. I already have plans. But, I'm flexible enough that I know things are going to get in the way of me doing this. Things are going to get me in the way of me doing that. And I'm ready for that. That's the thing. When you make these kind of, predictions and resolutions and stuff, you have to be able to roll with the punches. You have to be able to deal with the fact that you might not get that done. You might get it done, but there's no guarantee that it's going to happen. So that's that little bit. Another thing I was wanting to talk about was the rebirth of the specialist games for Games Workshop. Now, if you're as old as me, you remember back in the day where Games Workshop would just release a game, like Blood Bowl back in the day, like Dark Future, like Titanicus, Epic Space Marine. Everything went into White Dwarf, and everything was in White Dwarf. It wouldn't matter. There was Warhammer Roleplay, Warhammer 40k. Everything was in there. And then, Battlefield Gothic. I think it was when Necromunda first came out that they started. It was actually long before that they stopped doing anybody else's stuff. But when they got to a point where it was like, right, we've got too much stuff for us to keep going and putting everything in White Dwarf all the time. But it's got to the point where you're like, when they shut down specialist games, there was no support for anything. We all had to support each other in that, and I think that's quite important to remember. And I think it's quite important for Games Workshop to remember that all these games that they've had in the past, there's communities out there. Obviously, Adeptus Titanicus, when it came back, it was a massive hit. Necromunda's been a bit of a hit, but it's also been a bit of a miss. It dips in and out of popularity with people. The thing is, you keep on running out of gangs. I keep on seeing on Element Games all the stuff that you need. Keeps on, like the gang cards, your tactic cards, and the dice and everything. They keep on going out of stock and not being able to get, unavailable to get. It's not helping. It's not helping keep the games alive. Obviously, they've got a release schedule, and they have to, redo them, rejig the system, whatever they have to do with them. But it's not helping. The bring in new players. It's not helping bring and keep the older players. I've heard a lot of complaints about the fact that people have gone out and bought all the gang mod books, and then when the Delac game comes out, we've got a brand new rule book, and we've got we've got 2 new rule books that you've got to go out and buy. They've got everything in it, But if you want the deluxe and the stuff that comes with that, you have to go out and buy the new rulebooks. That's not helpful. I know it's not. From what I've read, it's not really Games Workshop's fault, because the guy who was the lead on Necromunda left very close to release, and wouldn't, Games Workshop wouldn't give him a contract for what's the word? Consulting. Wouldn't give him a consulting contract, because Games Workshop don't do that. Games Workshop, if you want to work on or work with them, you have to work for them. You have to work directly for them, and I'm pretty sure that they don't let you work for anyone else, unless obviously you're a Black Library writer like Andy Chambers and Gavin Thornton, people who have been there a long time, or been with Games Workshop at some point and worked on lots of different things. They're quite happy to have you do whatever you want, just as long as you get the stuff that they need you to do on time. But I think that's a lesson that has to be learned with obviously Necromunda. You can't have that with Titanicus. If they bring a version of More Time back, if they do Battlefield Gothic again, Blood Bowl's been slightly the same. Though I think Blood Bowl was always planned to release the main rules and then do everything through Forge World after that. But I'm not sure on that. I can't speak for Games Workshop, and I can't be clairvoyant and go, this is what their idea was. But you have to learn the lessons from Necromunda and Blood Bowl, that there is a vocal community that has kept these games alive when Games Workshop haven't been doing shit with them. And you need to, as much as you need to bring in those new players, you also have to understand the feelings of the older players, that they want to come back and have this new game and enjoy it. And I'm running a campaign for Necromunda this year, but there's everyone apart from 2 or 3 never played the original, so they're new players, but it's bringing in the old players that was difficult. We did a campaign at the club a number of years ago with Necromunda, and none of those players wanted to take part, because I don't know why they didn't want to take part. I've not asked them, because I don't think it's my place to go, well, why don't you want to take part in my campaign? You don't want to, I mean that's the thing. I run the campaign. I don't care if you don't want to take part in it. Don't take part in it. That's fine. Don't have an issue with it. I would like to have had them play in it, because there'd have been more players, and we could have, extended it a little bit better and fleshed out a bit more. But I can live with it. It's just who plays is who plays. That's fine. But I honestly do believe that the thing with bringing back the specialist games is you have to bring them back properly. You can't just bring them back, willy-nilly, with no, regard for the community. I do know, I don't know for sure, but I do think there are people who are part of Yak Tribe, which is obviously the big Necromunda website. It's also got More Time stuff, and Gorkamorka, and a lot of specialist game stuff is on that website. I believe that they've had a hand in bringing the new game to life, but I don't know how much, and I don't know if it's it's been a smooth trajectory, smooth sailing. I don't even know what I'm trying to say there, but I think having and keeping the community that still plays these games involved is an important thing, to get the new edition that you bring out and bring it forward and bring it into the community as a whole, like the gaming community as a whole, and have it accepted and played. And the thing is, with these figures, Games Workshop can't be spending a small amount of money, because the molds aren't cheap on plastic. Even if Games Workshop did it all in house, it still wouldn't be cheap, because it takes time and money to get these created. It takes an engineer of some skill, as far as I'm aware, to put one of these molds together. And with the gangs for Necromunda, there's a lot of them, and it can't have been cheap. The moulding can't have been cheap, let alone how much money they spent on advertising. Now, I know probably a lot of the stuff that they did are in-house, but not everything they could have done was in-house, you know what I mean? So, it's got to make money, obviously, but, you can't really think that Games Workshop have gone out to tank their own game. There might be elements within the company that might want to tank it, because they might want more money assigned to whatever project they work on, or this happens in big companies. But from my limited experience with people who work in Games Workshop, because obviously I haven't spent a lot of time in the shop in the last probably 10 years, maybe 15 years. It's been a long time since I've spent a lot of time in a Games Workshop, and even when I did spend any amount of time in a Games Workshop, it wasn't a lot, which is probably one of the reasons I never got a job that I applied for with them. But I'm still a bitter fucker about it. Still, I always will be. I'll always get on my bloody nerves. But that's beside the point entirely. The thing is, there's a lot of money being spent on it, so they need to make their money back, but they need to support it properly. That's the thing. If you're ever going to run your own games company, run games and create games, is you've got to support it. One of the biggest problems Spartan had, which I believe is one of the reasons that they went under, is they did not support their games properly. They would release this new set of rules and support it for about 6 months, and then it'd fall off. Support would fall away, because they'd go do something else, and then it was a cycle with them. Support it for 6 months and then fall off, and even at the end the support was less than 6 months. Obviously they released a lot of the Halo stuff in the latter days, and I think they've spent too much on the license. Games Workshop have done that before. From what I heard with the Lord of the Rings license, it wasn't until very near the end of the original run of their license deal with New Line. I think it was New Line, can't remember. They started making a profit off the license. I don't know how true that is. It's the same as the at the time where it first came out, I knew a few people that worked for Games Workshop, or knew people who worked for Games Workshop down in the head office down in Nottingham or London or wherever it is now, and they talked. You talk to your friends, especially ones that are in the community, about stuff that happens if you work for a game company. And basically part of the license was, they can't be the same size as the Warhammer figures, because people just use Warhammer figures for playing Lord of the Rings. So if they're all the same scale, and if they're all different scales, the original Lord of the Rings stuff, I don't know how it is now because I've not bought any in a while, long while, because I've sold most of the stuff that I've got. Is true 25s, so it's not 28s. It's closer to true 25s than it is 28s. So there is a big difference in size, and build, and all the rest of that kind of stuff. And actually, the Lord of the Rings stuff is closer at reality size, like build and stuff like that, than the 40k stuff, because obviously 40k stuff and Warhammer stuff is exaggerated. But that had to be a difference. The different way of sculpting them, different way, because obviously all of their mould making stuff would be tooled towards making 28s rather than 25s. I don't know how much a massive difference that makes, but I'm sure it will be had been a difference. And sculpting to that size as well would have been different, because it might only be 3mm off to your eye, but it's when it's 3 ups and 10 ups and all this, that kind of stuff, it's massive difference between that and that. So but there was that rumour that it wasn't on, so that it wasn't until very near the end of the license they made money. So I can only imagine the kind of money that Spartan paid for the Halo franchise license. Can't have been cheap, and maybe they overextended themselves. But their biggest problem was not supporting their games properly, and it's something you have to learn. I think if you're going to be a developer of games, do not overextend yourself. Do not spend too much money on a license if you're going to license stuff, if you can't afford it. And also, support everything that you do. I think that's important for anyone in the gaming industry. Support what you're doing, because people are only going to buy it if it's being supported. People will buy it initially, but once it stops being supported, nobody's going to buy it. And I think that's the thing that you have to get in your head if you're going to do that kind of thing. And I might be rambling a little bit just now because I'm trying to think of what else I was going to say. I remember what it was now. If you are going to do a game, right, and you're going to put it on video, or you're going to do battle reports or anything like that, learn the fucking rules. This is one thing I have learned from doing them myself. I don't remember the bloody rules for 40k. I don't remember the rules for Kill Team, and definitely didn't remember the rules for when I was doing a Song of Ice and Fire game. So, to be honest with you, if you're going to play it all, learn the rules before you do it. I mean, the thing is, with a lot of sets of rules, it's not apparent the nuances until you actually play a game. It doesn't sink in until you play a game. But what you have to do first is actually sit and read the rules. Sit and take your time, go through the rules, check them, and make sure that you've got it right. Because there's nothing worse than having to stop mid-game and go, oh, I don't remember that rule, I don't remember this rule, especially if you've got it on video. Makes you look like a complete and utter fucking tube. Guilty of that one several times. But, as I said, a lot of the time actually picking up the rules properly doesn't happen until you go and play the game, and then you go back and reread the rules. You're like, right, okay, understand that. It sticks. It helps to have, a player around that remembers everything. Once it's committed to memory. We've got Sam in the Falkirk group that, once he's got it, it's committed to memory, and, all you have to do is check with him. But as I say, once it is committed to memory, he remembers it, but, he can't, if he doesn't remember it, it's because it hasn't come up in a game. So he has to go back and look at it, and then it sticks in there. I wish I had that. I really do. Because it drives me crazy playing a game and I can't remember shit. Though, to be fair, it happens very often that I can't remember shit anyway. Because I have dyspraxia and I have absolute horrific memory at times. There's no excuse for sometimes. It's just that I haven't bothered remembering to read something, or haven't bothered actually learning something properly, and that, it's fine. But you need to get your finger out and read those rules before you do anything. When I was doing unboxing of a set of rules, I completely forgot the rules, so I had to actually have the rules there with me, and I was actually saying things wrong every time, even though I've got the rules right in front of me. So obviously I hadn't read them well enough in order to get my point across. So before I do that again, because it got ruined, thank you Zachy boy, I will have to read the rules again, and at that point, obviously I'll be ready to do it again. But right now, not ready to do it again. Today at some point, this is Monday now, there will be another YouTube video released. It's actually been released. I haven't watched it yet, or haven't tweeted or anything about it, so I actually need to do that. That's the thing. Also, if you're going to be a YouTuber, podcaster, and anything like that, you need to remember to put tweets out, Facebook messages, Instagram messages, everything on your social media. You have to get it out so people can watch it and see it and see what's going on your channels. When I first released episode number 1, it was out like that, but it was at a stupid time in the morning, so I don't think a lot of people got it, so I had to send it out again. That's the thing, you have to, if you're in the UK, you have to send it out as an appropriate time for the UK, but also appropriate time for America and Europe. So at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Here it is 6 o'clock in Los Angeles. So you need to send that to be out at like 8 o'clock in the morning maybe, so people are getting it when they're getting up and getting ready to go to work. So you're talking 4 o'clock in the afternoon before you send all that stuff out. Well, I could send it out now and people would get it, but we'll see. I shall see. But yeah, I think that's it for me today. I think I've talked a lot. It's around 20 minutes odd. So I'm going to try and get the YouTube on a better schedule than I've got it on just now. Right now it's higgledy-piggled days. Whenever I've got time to get that out, it gets out. And this will probably for the start will be once a week. But I'll see how I feel when I've finished them all. So I am going to say a good day and happy hobby. Actually, before I go, obviously I hope you have enjoyed this episode, and I hope you've enjoyed the previous 2 episodes. Obviously, if you've enjoyed one episode and listened to it and kept on listening, you have enjoyed it. This channel is ad free at the moment because obviously I don't have any support, ad support. I'd like to keep that, keep it like that as long as possible. I don't do Patreon because I don't like the idea of me charging you for anything that I do. I'd like to think that if you would support me, you would do it because you want to. So on the website for the podcast, it's somewhere you can find it. There is a link to my Ko-fi account. Now, you don't need to give a lot of money, £2 or £3, dollars, whatever it is. It would buy you one less coffee for yourself. I don't drink coffee, but I think it's a good system. So basically, what that plan is to do with the first lot of that money that I get is to buy a new mic for doing YouTube, but also doing the podcast and doing Twitch when I can actually finally do Twitch. Right now my internet's complete garbage, so I can't do it. But also help me with my lighting rig, because right now it's garbage. Yeah, so basically, if you want to support the channel, go to yogidaveshobby.podiant.co. I think that's it. Hold on, I'll check it because I'm friggin' useless when remembering these things. Yeah, so yogidaveshobby.podiant.co, and on there somewhere there is a link to my Ko-fi account. So a couple of £1 or a couple of dollars will help me out eventually when I get the money. But it'll keep me going, keep my YouTube going, keep, obviously, if you've gone and watched the YouTube, at some point I'm going to be doing some raffles for a couple of £1. So that, what I'd ask is, if you're going to do a coffee, that'll be how I do the raffle. So if you spend £3 or $3 or £3, I think it was either £2 or £3. I'm not 100% sure. But I think, to be honest, it'll be £2. For every £2, you'll get a raffle ticket, and you'll be able to win you'll just get entered into whatever raffle is running at that particular time. So the first one will be a painted version of Captain Calcius from Conquest on a display base that I've made myself, and that'll, if you want it, it'll get sent out to you, and that if you pay for coffee now, you'll just get entered into that, and every one that you give me, you'll get entered into that period's raffle. So you're not getting something for nothing if you win. But you're not getting something for nothing anyway, because it's helping support the podcast, the YouTube channel, and eventually a Twitch channel. So I'm not going looking for advertisers and having to mess about with all that nonsense. So as I said, I hope you enjoy, I hope you continue to enjoy, and I hope you come back again. So again, I'm going to say good day, happy hobby.